For me, a lot of the things in Module 1, I wasn't quite sure about, but at this point, I think we've sort of gone through it so many times, and just practicing flaps, practicing grafts, suturing. I mean, it's nothing that I haven't really done before, because we've done so many courses with Lincoln, you guys, and it's just every time I come, I learn something new, and it's great. So Module 3, I feel that there is a lot more consolidation compared to Module 1, and a lot of times you see stuff online and you're like, I want to try that, but you don't know what the nuances are, and I think it's good to have someone show you the finer things and things to look out for, so that things don't explode in your face when you go back. Even though it is, I'm basically flying from one end of the country to get here, but Lincoln is always very upfront about his knowledge, his info. It's not just himself, but also being in the practice, seeing how things are run. It's not easy to get courses where instructors are very, very open about what they know, what works, what doesn't work, and I think Lincoln, I think he has sort of changed. I mean, he's sort of influenced the way I practice, certainly in my own practice, and listening to his 15 plus years of experience as a practice owner, you really get a sense of what to avoid, what not to do. And oftentimes it is not just the course material, is also what happens after that, in discussions, when it comes to practice management, when it comes to dealing with staff, when it comes to dealing with patients as well. That's why I like it. I mean, I've done a bunch of implant courses as well. I've been overseas, where we place implants, and I've actually done Lincoln's way back when he was running his first lot of implant sort of mini residency, but it wasn't a live training course. I'd already done that, and I guess looking at my own patients, I feel that there aren't a lot of slam dunk easy cases out there, and certainly because grafting is such a big part, and I think it probably is the more difficult part of training, of doing the procedure. I think it is well worth learning how to do it. And actually, I had probably 5 years back, when I just started my practice, I actually was deciding when I should go into implant surgery, and I spoke to Lincoln, and he actually told me that I should start learning grafting first. And so Faye, my wife, and myself, we did, I think, the second ever grafting course that was held here, the soft tissue course. And so right now when we're doing soft tissue grafts, to me it's very simple. I'm very used to dealing with 6-0, 7-0 sutures, and I think that has really enabled me to learn a lot more, and I think it's probably the best way, the hard way, but it's probably the best way of doing it. And I'm glad that I started off doing soft tissue grafting, getting a feel of how to manipulate soft tissue before sticking something in that has to stay there for 20, 25, 30 years, hopefully. It's great. I mean, I guess me, I know both Matt and Maria outside of this course, and we have sort of hung out in many different sort of, instances before doing the course. So I feel very comfortable talking to Matt and Maria. They're both very, very nice people. They both have got a very broad sort of, broad-based experience. And certainly I feel that because they're quite different, in the way they approach cases. It gives me a different perspective or as to how, as to the different ways of doing a certain case. So I probably, I've worked with all 3 instructors now at the end of module 3, and I feel that both of them are great. Both of them are very willing to help, and but at the same time, both of them give me very different perspectives as to how to approach a case, and I think that can only be a good thing. It's hard to measure a return on investment. It is, if it weren't value for money, I wouldn't be flying all the way from Tasmania to attend the courses in Bergara, right? So it is pricey, but I think the amount that you get at the end of it, and I think the way that the knowledge is laid on top of each other, I think it's great that it's layered this way, and certainly I feel that, even though we've spent a big sum of money, like including my wife, probably more than 100 grand, but there's a reason why we keep coming back, just because this model of education you don't really find, in many places, especially in Australia. You might have to go to the US, but then again, then you can't work on patients because you're not registered, and I think it's good value for money because every time I come, I get more comfortable doing a facet of dentistry that I wasn't doing before, and I can bring it back to my practice, and I can sort of do it for my patients, knowing that I can do a good job because I own my own practice. I can't just blow the place up and then leave for another job. So for me, it is very, very important that whatever I do lasts. And I was just looking at Bob. I thought about him today, and I was like, it's time to follow him up. And actually, he had come in recently, I think for for some treatment, and I saw models and and like the preps that I did in 2017, they're all still there. They look great. And looking at what he was like before to what he was like after the full mouth rehab course was great. And I feel that that's one of the great things about this course, is that patients don't just disappear, and that you can follow them up really if you wanted to. And I basically just asked Dom to pull up the photos. I went through them. I was very happy, showing everyone how amazing job I did. And so it's good when you can do work that even as a student, you can follow it up, you can know how things are going, and you can see sort of the job that you've done, and you can know where you've gone wrong and where you've gone well. So that's good. So definitely, I think value for money. If it weren't value for money, we wouldn't be have spent so much money. Well, there is a progression. I feel that oftentimes, because we've got a bunch of associates, right? And I feel that younger dentists, I don't know whether I probably was like that when I graduated, where you feel that you want to do everything in 1 year. And so when I graduated, I did so many courses. And the longer I've practiced, the more I feel that, you need to build a foundation sort of skill set before doing the fancy stuff. So I have got a couple of grafts that I did when I first, not long after I opened my practice. Didn't go very well. And thankfully, patients are understanding. I had a second go at them after I became more experienced. And I think because time had passed, because I had, done Lincoln's course, I had done other sort of, soft tissue surgery courses as well. It basically allowed me, it's all the same steps, but it's just the little things, the things that you learn to look out for, that is important.